Happy Monday. We had a little election last week. Didn't you know that? Apparently a lot of people didn't know that, despite the fact that we've been talking about it for 2 months. It was a local election, just a little state senate thing. But apparently nobody really cared or paid any attention because the turnout was simply abysmal. I mean, it's bad all the time these days, but this one was just kind of silly. It was like 6%. Now that's something that we need to do something about. Lena Gonzalez was by far the winner in this primary. She's going to be the front runner again in a runoff to represent 990-some thousand people in our state legislature. And you know how many votes it took to do that? About 4,700 votes. That's right, 4,700 out of 990,000 people had the time to mark a little box that said, I would like Lena to represent me. Now she does have to still win the runoff, and Mr. Guerrero, the Republican, who says that he thinks he can actually win this in an overwhelming Democratic area, you know what? He's right. If only 5 or 6% of the people who vote actually turn out and cast a vote, he's got as good a chance as anybody. Strange things happen when you can kind of corral just a few people and get them to vote for you and have a chance at winning. So we got to do something about this. I have to apologize to be talking about this again. The news industry talks about poor turnout after almost every election these days. And it's something that we kind of harp on, and I guess you're kind of tired of hearing that. But the fact of the matter is, we're on the verge of losing our democracy. Democracy is supposed to be a representative government. And representative means that you chose somebody to represent you. If you don't make the choice, how is it representative? It's easy to just talk about it and talk about it. So let's think of some ways to do something about it. Now, I voted a month ago. Most of the people who actually voted in this election voted a month ago. That's because that's when we got our mail-in ballot. That mail-in ballot was really easy to do. Pick it out of the mail, check a box, put it back in the mail. Pretty good stuff, especially if you know who you're going to vote for. Easy enough? Well, apparently not easy enough for most people. Maybe they just threw that away along with all of the political flyers. Hard to say. If it was mail-in only, I don't think it would be that much better. Of course, there's always the possibility of using the digital world to vote. You know, couldn't we find a way in this wonderful world of ours to make it possible to vote electronically and do it safely? I mean, if you could vote on your phone, if they could vote on their phones, I'll bet they'd vote. They spend 8-10 hours a day staring at the phone anyway. Let's just make it one of those pop-up ads. That might work. Yeah, probably not. And there's always that case where maybe the Russians would get into our information. So that wouldn't be good either. So maybe, how about this? Let's look at those newer countries. Those people are just becoming democracies. You know what they do? They make it a law that you have to vote. That's right. If you don't vote, you get fined. And they'll come after you. Kind of like our jury duty, you know. If we could make it a law that once you turn 21, you have to vote, at least they'd mark the ballot. Of course, then they'd be voting about stuff they don't know anything about. So maybe it's okay that most of those people don't vote. No, I don't think it's okay either. I know I'm talking to the choir. I bet if you spend the time to watch this, you have already voted. So maybe, just maybe, we ought to just be quiet about it all and be that minority that picks who represents us. I kind of like that. I'm one of 5% of the people who says, I'll vote and I'll pick somebody and I don't care if you like it or not. I don't like that a whole lot either. Do you have any ideas? Let me know. We got to have something. We've got to do something about this. Thanks.